Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Sebastian, and I'm a college student at Nusantara University. I'm at my first semester, and today here in this video, I'm going to give you a little bit presentation about my final term exam project. Now, my final term exam project is about mental health problem that is happening right now, has affected many humans in this era mostly, has some connection to our great source of entertainment, video games. Now, the problem is that it has interrupts many people's life in their normal daily activities and abilities. For example, when people usually hang out with their friends, people who get addicted to video games, they usually just spend their time alone playing video games, of course. I do my research, as I've said. Let's see how in a minute. As you can see here, in my presentation title, how much is enough for video games? It's basically suggests on how much should be recommended time of playing video game for all ages, and it's basically talks about what is the prevention of video game addiction. Let's talk about it. First of all, background. Let's start from the background. It is no question that video games are a part of human history now. Now, the first video game actually starts from around late 19th century. It was first defined as an electronic game that has screen display as its interface, like your TV screen, like your laptop screen, or even your mobile screen. Now, since then, many people has acknowledged this and known, and they even played video games in their life. Now, people played different scales of time. I think I define them as three kinds of personality who play video games. The first is the one that play in occasional time. They only play it when they have nothing else to do. They only play it when their friends ask them to play, and when they play it when they trying something new. The second part is the one that has actually built in a routine, but this routine doesn't conflict with their normal life. Most of them actually only play it for a few hours in a week. Usually they play it only for 1 to 2 days on the weekend, and they don't really get themselves addicted from this. Now, the third kind is the unadvisable one. It's the one that playing hours of video games daily. Now, this is highly unadvisable because simply that their priority of entertainment has been replaced for in video games, all of it. Means that their normal activities in this are not is video games as first priority and others as everything under it. As such, they'll get trouble in life. They'll develop many behavior that are not supported by people and other things. We'll talk about it later. So playing too much video games may affect our daily life. It will affect your daily life, of course, in a bad way, because playing best video games will lead you to many things such as behaviors, such as health and behaviors, and etc. So with no reason, people can get addicted to it. As itself, video game itself is actually harmless. It all returns back to the users themselves and how they're using it. It can be a great source of entertainment in leisure time, but it also can be a great information waste on your brain. So it all depends on yourself. But for kids and teens who maybe don't even know what's good for them, will suffer big consequences from this. This is why that most kids that you see today get addicted to games on their mobile or on their laptops, computer things. Second of all, the WHO organization, or the World Health Organization, has recently announced a new classification for gaming addiction called gaming disorder, a mental disorder where a person can live their life away from games. Although gathered many controversies, should be known there are right now many people suffers from this. Excuse me. Now, next part, let's talk about the benefits of doing this research. The benefits of doing this research is to know what is the consequences of playing too much. The consequences of for playing too much is about it basically tells you what it'll do on your daily life. Like for example, you'll do procrastination on doing your normal activities and it'll crush your normal routines and such. And we'll discuss it later. Second is to know how video game addiction may affect your life. And we'll talk this about how it will affect your health, physically, mentally, and your behavior. And third, to know the diagnosis of video game addiction. It's basically to tell what is the condition if I am get addiction, or what is the condition if I am addicted to video games. And the last but not least, is the most important one, is to know how to prevent ourselves from getting addicted. This is the next. Now, many activities stimulates dopamine. So first of all, what is dopamine? Well, I just said that dopamine is a chemical in your brain that rewards you for doing things. It's basically why you do stuff, because it gives you motivational stuff. So when you do routine things like eating and sleeping, exercising, and taking a bath, these dopamines will stimulate it and they'll give you a good feeling for doing such thing. You'll feel good, and your brain will tell you that this should be repeated again. As such, why we every day eat, why we every day sleep at night, and etc. Now, dopamine itself can also be stimulated by many other things though. For example, it's like drugs and other chemicals like nicotine. But other than that, it can also be affected like video games and TVs. So these things can stimulate our brain other than doing our normal stuff. The third one is that habitual things shape our brain reward system. Like I said, normal routine stuff, actually that's good for you. We reward your dopamine. But although doing drugs and video games gives you much better of dopamine, which means that if you're playing too much video games without breaks, it will rewire your brain. Why? Because your brain will always adapt. Hence, you will get addicted. To summarize, it's simply like this. When you playing video games for many hours, your brain will adapt to it, that it'll increase its needs of dopamine daily to fit all those dopamine bursts you get from playing video games daily for that many hours. And as such, later on, when you're just doing normal activities, now that dopamine level won't reach that much again, because you're doing normal activities other than something that gives you more dopamine. It will crush your normal daily life. As such, there's the reason why people usually procrastinate on doing things, and their priority usually comes for video games first, because it rewards them of dopamine in that same level that they get before from getting addicted. Now, people who get addicted to video games have several things that we can see. Is that the first is that they cannot get it off the game for a few days. They're basically doing everything for hours daily, and if they do try to get it off, they usually just seek another entertainment. They'll reach the same dopamine level for them. And why? Because they have an irresistible urge to play. Because their brains tell them to play. So they'll get irritated if they're done, because they don't reaching that dopamine level in the brain. So, but when they do play, they tend to forget other activities, because your dopamine level is so high that your other activities on the lower level of the dopamine won't be much more important. Like I said, because on these people kind, their thing on their top hat is that the top is the video game, while others will be below. The next part, let's talk about now about the health itself. Video game addiction has some condition with physical health. It has been proven that it will indirectly lead to premature death, and also leads to other health problems like headaches, neck pain, back pain, digestive problems, and sleeping problems. Other than that, it also leads to less anticipated behavioral and emotional problems. For example, is that you'll get most likely to be isolated to the outside to play video games alone, and also you'll develop antisocial behavior, still questionable. And the other thing is that you'll be less dysfunctional in your school, in your social life, in your occupation, or in your family. So as such, yes, I've created a research. I've created an open survey. The survey consists of a questionnaire that has 8 questions with connected to the topics. I've gathered at least 8 respondents, and all are aged around 18. Now, the reason why I gathered all around 18 is not because, in my opinion, that most people at the age around as me, they tend to be more objective than subjective, which means that they tend more to see from the fact rather than emotion. I will talk about it more lightly, but get it in your heart thoughts. So from this research, I gathered from the results is the first that from the question of have you ever played video games, all answered yes. From the second question, if yes, how many times do you do it? Majority said that they're playing only for some days in weekly, and while some say that they do play hours daily, but some play that they're playing only on an occasion. On the third, and then I asked them, do you feel playing video game has affected them in their daily life? Most of them answered yes, but in a good way. And some of them answered no. Some entities answered yes, but in a bad way. When I asked them about their thoughts, most of them answered this. I'm not going to read it all about it, but let's just say that from all this, I summarize that most of these answers are all the benefits you can get from playing video games. And then the second is that I asked them if do they believe if people can get addicted to video games. I gave them the answer of yes, but one is a positive side and the second one is on the negative side. The majority said that it is yes, people can get, but some said that they don't think it'll do anything that will be fatal to them. And some also said that yes, and it will ruin their life. But some do answer that no, this addiction is not possible for video games. And then next one is I asked them if they play video games, do they think that they're somehow related to it? Some say no, some say yes, and some say maybe. And then when I asked them about their opinion on the World Health Organization decision on classifying game addiction as a mental disorder, they feel that most of them they did the right thing. Next is then I asked them to explain a little about how they feel about video game as to humankind. From this, I summarized that most of them acknowledge that playing video game is too much is bad for them, but playing video game has its own beneficial side. And then from this, I can conclude most respondents acknowledge video game addiction and how bad it is. And then majority think that addicted video games isn't fatal. Some think otherwise, while one don't even think you can get not this. Some say that majority think addicted isn't fatal. This I don't think not that they're not understanding the concept video game at all. It's because that not before the majority answered they only play in a few days of a week, which means that they don't see any negative side effects of playing these video games for them. Now, as such, they don't feel any bad things of being addicted to video game at all because they don't understand being addicted to video games. And then the majority support that the World Health Organization of classifying addiction as mental problem. Then some of them may understand that they themselves suffer from it. Now, this is why I said before, they are more likely to be objective than subjective because they see the facts. If they do get a video game addiction from the facts that they see, they will say that they are addicted, not from their feelings, not from their emotion. And then I asked, and then the respondents understands the pros and cons of playing video games. So what can we conclude at last from all of this research? Now, video game addiction is a harm to us, but the video game itself is harmless. It's a difference. And then one study said that addiction itself is caused by the underlying mental disorder. Now, this is actually interesting for me. It is still questionable, But some say that because there are other mental problems such as anxiety and depression, he said that these are the cause of from which video game addiction comes from. Now, it is questionable, but I think it's just an interesting article. The third one says that people who play only for a few days in a week seems to have no trouble preventing video game addiction. This has come from the questionnaire. Like I said before, like the majority said they only play for a few days in a week, which means that they don't get any benefit at all. They answer no when I ask them if they get addicted to games, and they answer that they don't feel any bad effects of them playing video games. And if anything, they said that they get all the beneficial effects of playing video games to them. I said that they have little to no negative effects of playing video games at all. And then, for people who suffers from such addiction, should treat them like normal mental disorder. They should seek help from their close friends or their families. And then last but not least, last bit of my presentation is my suggestion. So first of all, to prevent all these game addictions, try to count and limit your playing video games times, because it is pretty important for you to compare yourself when you're playing video game and compare the time you're doing other activities. And second is that if after you compare it, of course, don't play for hours long then. Second, for parents, I suggest them to work with kids to schedule playing time. Like I said, kids actually susceptible to video game addiction without guidance, of course. So kids better play only for a few hours in a week or a few days, which seems to get the benefits of playing video games. That's all from my presentation. Thank you.